You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Dave is a happy man today.
I am.
Because the Cowboys lost and my Survivor is over, so now I'm with you in that regard.
I'm not happy that you lost your Survivor.
You're not?
No, I would love to be able to root for you, but I can't root for the Cowboys when the Cowboys are considerably ahead of the New York Football Giants. So I watched that game last night, and I'm telling you, everybody that says the Cowboys they're just not that good. They're fine. They should be able to make the playoffs. Their offense is very good. Their offensive line is tremendous. But Romo gets hurt last night. The entire complexion of the game changes then, and he comes back. They gave him a shot. He didn't look right. Yeah, watching the Cowboys lose on primetime for me is really, really fun.
Can I take you to something that I just couldn't understand at the end of that game?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you get 8 yards on first down with DeMarco Murray
and then not run again?
On second or third down?
Yeah.
How do you not run again there? How do you possibly...
When your quarterback is nowhere near healthy.
Exactly. If I could have, I would have handed the ball to DeMarco Murray, let him run down the entire field and gotten the points that way. You didn't give him the ball. You watched him constantly not get touched until he's 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. I mean, DeMarco Murray is running behind Emmitt Smith-like holes. He really is.
That offensive line is scary good.
It's terrific. It's terrific. Although last night, it clearly had some issues because the quarterback had no idea where the blitz was coming from over and over again.
Is that the offensive line?
No, I don't
think so. Or is that the quarterback
I think
not
it's the
noticing,
quarterback.
not having an idea of where it's coming from? And when he came back into the game, and I thought, and I tweeted this, and people got crazy on Twitter last night, Ryan. I said, I don't know why they took out Whedon. And I still don't know why they took out Whedon. Whedon led them up and down the field. He scored the touchdown. They tied the game. And when Romo came back, he was not nearly as good as he was earlier, and I didn't think he was good earlier in the game.
No, he had an awful game. Earlier... And he was significantly inhibited, you could tell, by the contusion to his back. But all game, he had no idea where anyone was coming from. I don't know the last time. You know who reminded me of, actually? Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez so consistently didn't know where a blitz was coming from that he would get popped, and we would all say, well, I mean, how's he supposed to throw? The offensive line isn't blocking for him. But the truth is, he wasn't, sliding protection. He wasn't seeing who was coming, even when it was blatantly obvious. Last night, watching Tony Romo was like watching that. It's like watching a quarterback who just was in his first year and had never seen an opposing team in the NFL blitz before. Because over and over and over again, he had no idea how to react to the jailbreak blitz. I don't know why, because clearly he's been through that before. It was sort of odd. But then, Dave, you're right. He was so inhibited. If I was the Cowboys, I probably would have stuck with Whedon, too, just seeing how gimpy that Romo looked. It is hard to do, though, if Romo's like, I'm telling you, I can go back in that game. I want to win this game. And you tell your quarterback,
they had to shoot him up, though. That he needed an injection in the locker room. And you tell me, when he came back, did he look right to you?
No, he didn't look anywhere near right.
He looked completely hobbled, and I thought I give the Redskins a lot of credit for that because they went after him. They went after him all game. And they took him out of his game. But when he came back from having that back issue, they went after him hard. They went all-out blitz, and he was not mobile, and they got to him. And he fumbled the ball at the 5, and I don't know how Kerrigan didn't recover that one.
That was one of the oddest non-recoveries that
we've
ever seen. It was in his gut.
It was in his arms.
You know what that reminded me of a little bit? Do you remember Ahmad Bradshaw getting back on that football?
In the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, where he went into, and you thought, well, the Patriots have that in Super Bowl 42. Then all of a sudden, somehow Bradshaw had it, and you're like, he definitely killed someone at the bottom of the pile to get that football back. I have no idea how Kerrigan didn't fall on it. But you're right, and he should have been picked a couple plays later, too.
And it was caught. Went through. I don't know how that happened, but you know what? The Redskins did a great job last night, and if you're a Giants fan, okay? Now, here's the thing. It's twofold. You feel good about the Giants this weekend because, quite frankly, Ryan, the Giants didn't play.
Yes.
So they didn't lose. And you watch the Eagles lose, and you watch the Cowboys lose, and you start to feel like, well, maybe, if, possibly. I still sit here and I don't see how.
No, why?
Because they're not that good.
But hold on a second. You just got done telling me the Eagles aren't that good.
Oh, they're not either.
I mean, I'm sorry. And the Cowboys aren't.
And they're not
good
either. But I think, well, two things. A, those teams I think are better than the Giants. And you saw the Eagles beat the Giants 27-0 and just undress them on national TV.
Yeah.
And number two, the Cowboys are 6-2 and the Giants are 3-4. And the Eagles are 5-2 and the Giants are 3-4.
Right. I agree that as of this moment, the Cowboys and Eagles are both proven to be significantly better teams than the Giants, and they're in a much better spot. However, it's not that loss is a damaging loss to the Cowboys.
It's more damaging if Romo is hurt.
Yes.
If Romo is hurt, it's up for grabs. If Romo comes back and he's healthy, and I don't know that he will. I mean, look, he didn't look right. They had to give him a shot. Same thing that happened last year. They said they did the whole structural, test last night in the locker room. But I don't know. I don't feel ultimately confident that he's going to come back and play this Sunday against Arizona, who in some bizarro world has the best record in the NFC right now. And I still don't know how.
It's amazing. Here's Romo on the injury.
I've played the game long enough to know sometimes, you feel certain things that you just can't really go through, and then others you think you can. And, I just felt like, it was obviously painful, but I also felt like I could deal with it. I've done that before, and you just, play football.
Look, the guy has a very high threshold for pain, Ryan. The question is, were you not better off sticking with Brandon Weeden, who was, we made fun of him when he came into the game, and he's old, and he's in his third year, and he's 31 or 32 years old. But I thought for what he did last night, he was very, very good. He didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
He looked very solid. If I was a Cowboys fan this morning, I would be sick over what happened to my team last night.
Yeah. I don't know that you could actually stand there and say, sorry, Tony, you're not going in. We're sticking with Brandon Weeden. I don't know that you can make that decision, but I can tell you I think it would have been the better one for the team because Weeden looked good. He got in a rhythm. He was coming off a big drive, and Romo just did not look right at all. Plus, if you are worried about his health in the future, it's a guy coming off of 2 back surgeries he's had in his career now. Plus, he has to be shot up. And, in your worst-case scenario, you lose a game to the Redskins, you're still tied atop the division. It's not good, but you could deal with it, if you don't play him. If you play him and he gets hurt worse, wow, that is a season ender. So you do not want to
Now, if you remember, against the Redskins last year, he went out in that game. He came back, and he led them to the victory, and he was hobbled in that game. And then they determined after that he had the disc issue, and he was out for the rest of the season. So just because he came back in last night and finished the game, I don't think there's any reason for us to believe that moving forward, Tony Romo is fine.
And, look, Adrian Kalale, who tweets at us all the time, he's a good tweeter, Dave. We like him.
He's a Cowboys fan, which you don't like, but he's
a good tweeter. We appreciate his loyalty to the show.
Now, Cowboys fans in their own right are just off the wall, but as close to being on the wall as you could be, that is him.
And
yes.
He tweets saying Romo made the adjustment to blitzes were missed by Murray. It's not the quarterback's job to look at the blitzer post snap. No. Murray did miss. He missed that crucial one where Romo got pounded, but Tony Romo, if you watch the broadcast, John Gruden was pointing it out as well. Tony Romo, he was not on it. He
was bad last night.
He did not. You could say DeMarco Murray missed a couple pickups in protection. You're right, he did, but it was not all on DeMarco Murray. Tony Romo, he had no idea how to deal with that jailbreak blitz all night from the Redskins. Now, as far as how it affects the Giants, what I would say, Dave, is I think it adds a little wind under the sails.
Okay.
A little bit.
Like a puff of wind.
No, I think it's more like a gush of wind.
A gush?
A gush.
Is there such a thing as a gush of wind, though?
There is now.
Okay.
And the Giants have it. And I expect them to sail into the area of hope. Not necessarily fruition or execution, but for all of us to be at a place where we say, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah, that noise.
The interesting thing is, before the Giants play again, we're going to get to know what the Cowboys and the Eagles do this weekend, because the Giants are next Monday night.
And the Eagles have a game
at Houston.
That's not a definite win.
They're 2-point favorites in that game.
Yeah,
that's a flip of the coin. And the Cowboys go up against Arizona. And
hey.
You know that Todd Bowles will be dialing up blitz after blitz after blitz to try and get to Tony Romo.
That's right.
It's not that I don't think these other teams have huge warts, right? It's just that I honestly, I have to be honest with you, I don't think the Giants are that good. And you look at these next 4 games, they better win at home next Monday against Indy. Because after that, they go to Seattle, and you will not convince me the Giants will go up and win in Seattle.
Ruocco and Rothenberg with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM. Weather Gone Wild tweets at us saying, what exactly is the definition of a good tweeter?
I think you have to be humble. I think you have to be honest, and I think you have to admit if you're wrong when the host were to, or whoever it is were to respond to what you have to say.
Yeah. I think that's a good description.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
And you like my beard today.
Oh, my gosh. Let me tell you, Dave looks like $1 million today. That yes, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
He shaved. His beard was kind of like a little bit
straggly.
It was more Vermont, and now it's more Italy, is what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, it was straggly, and now it's nice and properly coiffed, and it's tight. You look fantastic.
Thank you very much.
You're ready
you look
to start
very nice as well.
I appreciate that. Got a haircut this morning.
Looks terrific.
You know, we throughout the course of this show are going to ask. I'm going to slip in 3 personal questions about Dave, in which Dave will give answers. He doesn't know those 3 questions I'm going to ask, but they're going to happen throughout the course of the show. Make sure you're listening, because at the end of the show, if you have all 3 answers, the first person to tweet them all to @JeffCandelmo is going to win a pair of tickets to Knicks Hornets on November 2nd. That's this weekend. That's Sunday.
Yeah.
So Knicks Hornets, it's a night game too, so you can watch your football during the day and then go check out the Knicks at night. Beginning of the season, Garden's awesome. The seats are good. So make sure you're listening, because throughout the show, I'm going to ask 3 questions personally to Dave. And whoever can come up with the answers at the end of the show by tweeting @JeffCandelmo is going to win the tickets to Knicks Hornets on November 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Papa Manganelli in White Plains wants to chime in on the Maserati of Morris County hotline. All right, Papa, go ahead, brother.
That's my quarterback. It's my quarterback. What's up, Ryan? Hey, now, you know what? Everybody's going crazy about Tony Romo coming back into the game. You know what? He still gave us the best chance to win the game, even though we didn't. He was 10 points.
Did he, Papa? I don't know if he did.
He was a little banged up, man, but he's done it before. He did it in San Francisco a few years back. I mean, come on, people. Really? Come on.
Yeah, here's the thing, Papa. I agree with you. By the way, it's sort of odd calling a man on the phone Papa, isn't it?
Who is that? It sounds like your
Papa
cousin.
Manganelli.
Yeah, I don't know who.
No, it's not my cousin Shane, whose bachelor party was this past weekend.
Who is Papa Manganelli?
Papa Manganelli.
Should I know this, Jeff? Jeff, do you know who Papa Manganelli is?
Jeff knows Papa Manganelli.
No, I don't.
Oh, how do you guys not know? He's a resident Cowboy fan for the area. He's from White Plains. He played football at Syracuse, actually, back in the day.
And his
around
first
Donovan
name
McNabb.
is Papa?
Well, I mean, that's his character.
Oh.
He's a diehard Cowboy fan. He's been very tormented in recent years with the Giants Super Bowls, but he's a good guy. He's a very good guy. One time I was out at
here we go.
at a place in the city, and this guy was very drunk, and he loved my Yankee hat, and he was trying to take it off my head. And I was like, dude, back up now. And Papa Manganelli, who's a big guy and played football in college, he came over and he handled it.
He's like your personal bouncer.
No. He was there DJing, and he came over and he just said, he's like, hey, knock it off. And
the guy up and
knocked
left.
it off. Yeah,
nice.
Because my scrawny little self wasn't going to intimidate anybody, but Papa Manganelli.
If you told me you knew Joe Panic and they made
gosh, they would have backed away so quickly. We all would have been safe. We all would have been just fine. I got a funny Joe P. story for you a little bit later.
I can't wait for that.
I know you can. Ruocco and Rothenberg with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM. Where was your first date with your wife?
The Evelyn Lounge on the Upper West Side.
Evelyn Lounge on the Upper West Side.
I don't think it's there anymore.
It's not there.
So
anymore.
The marriage has outlasted the establishment.
Well,
yes.
It means it was a good marriage.
But I told there's a funny story. You want to hear the funny story about that?
Love to.
So I had gone on a date prior to that, and it was great. And I really liked the girl. She stayed out with me till like 2:30 in the morning. And then I followed. You would figure that a girl likes you if she stays out till 2:30 in the morning with you, right?
Yeah, at least a little bit.
Okay. So I followed up, wanted to see her again, and then she never responded to me.
Really?
Yeah, and she told friends of friends, and she wasn't really that interested, which angered me because if you go out and meet for dinner at 7:30 and you stay out till 2:30, you're almost obligated to go on another date.
I would
think so. So when I met my wife, we sat down at the Evelyn Lounge around 8:30, and I said, listen, this may be the worst date. This may be phenomenal, but I'm telling you one thing. If we're out past 11 o'clock, you are then obligated to go out with me on a second date. And she said, well, why? And I explained. She go, okay, fair enough. So she actually had a bailout phone call that forgot to call her. We got to 11. I said, here's your time. You have to guarantee that if I call you, we go out on a second date. And she stayed, and we stayed out, and then the rest is history.
That's a terrific story.
There
and
you
I
go.
love that approach. Strong. We call that strong.
That's
your
what I
approach.
do.
When you sat down, this is the deal. Ruocco and Rothenberg with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM. 1-800-919-3776, the telephone number on the Maserati of Morris County hotline. Yesterday, Ryan Hurley did an unbelievable job, Michael K. show, and you got to hear from everybody.
Yeah, everybody on the show.
Including Jerry Reese and John Idzik. And I think there is a very clear difference in what you were hearing from the Giants GM and the Jets GM. But you're going to get a chance to decide next on ESPN New York.
You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Dave, yesterday, big day. Ryan Hurley had this station booked. The Michael Kay Show had big guest after big guest, including Jerry Reese and John Idzik. Now, you tell me if you think there's a difference here, okay?
Okay, let's hear what they have to say.
This is Giants GM Jerry Reese.
We all have to do better. I have to do better. The coaches have to do better. Players have to do better. It's all on us. We're all in it together. Again, like I just said, we're 3-4 together. We hope to get to 500. We got a really good football team coming in. They're coming off a tough loss yesterday. So every team is you can be beaten in the National Football League, as you've seen. 1 week one team looks like they're unstoppable. And a team comes out of nowhere. You don't expect to beat them. Beat them. And so it's men against men in this league. You got to prepare. You can't beat yourself. You got to go in there. You got to win the physical battle first. You got to play as a team, and you can't beat yourself with bad fouls. If you do those three things, you give yourself a great chance to win football games, and we have to do those things.
Okay, that's the Giants GM.
I like it.
Now take a listen to John Idzik.
All right.
You are what your record states, and we are a 1-7 team. We own that record. Do we feel like we're that ability? No, we don't. But in the end of the day, you really have to play. It's not enough to come close. It's not enough to play a good portion of the game, a good majority of the game, or get within a score or whatever. You need to close games out. That's what we haven't been doing the first half of the season. We need to be more consistent. We need to close.
Basically saying the same kind of message. Yeah. Do you hear a difference in the tone?
I'm not bothered by what Idzik said there.
Yeah, okay.
What, are you really have an issue there?
I thought, no, not necessarily with what he said right there. But I just thought, listening to both of them yesterday, there was a more defined, kernel-type feel to what Jerry Reese was talking about rather than John Idzik.
I think that Reese gets more specific of how they need to improve, and Idzik is more like big picture-y, flowery, glossing over some of the things. But in other spots of what Idzik said yesterday, both on his press conference and on the Michael Kay Show, I kind of shook my head. That soundbite is not the worst. Like, he came out and he said, the owner does a great job, and he gives us every chance to win with the organization. We have a great, and he starts naming, the sales staff is great, and the security staff is great. And some of that, it's like, I don't care. I don't care what the security staff is like. You know what I care about? The quarterback not throwing interceptions and the fact that the Jets are falling apart, and they seem to try and put this big rainbow around things rather than sit here and tell you, you know what, this is an absolute disaster right now.
The one thing I couldn't deal with, it sounded ridiculous. You had to hear over and over again yesterday about how the Jets were close. We're not that far away. We're close.
How many times have you heard, and this, I'm going to get angry now, but how many times have you heard, we had great practices all week long? You know what? I don't care how great your practices are on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I want you to go out there and win a football game, for God's sake. All these, we're so close, and if you look, they're one possession. You know what they are? They're losses. And you know what this team is right now? They're terrible. They're 1-7, and don't tell me how they fight for this head coach when they go out to San Diego and they lose a game 31-0, when they're home to Buffalo, a team that is, middle of the road in the NFL, and they can't compete with that team. It's disgusting to look at the Jets right now and think that they're trying to sell you that, we're close. They're not close. They're not close, Ryan. The quarterback situation's a disaster. The head coach is on his way out. I don't think the GM deserves to be here. What's so good about this team right now? Where are they close?
They're not.
They're not.
And that's what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to hear anything about how close they were yesterday. Because you know what? A secure, confident leader doesn't spin. They just say, this is how it is.
And this is terrible.
Exactly. This is awful. We're 1-7. That's absolutely
absurd. They're going to win 3 games this year.
Yes.
And they're going to go 3-13, and he's going to take the podium, and Rex will be fired, and he's going to tell us how they're just a little bit away. Well, you know what? And it didn't bother me as much to start the season because I didn't know how bad they were going to be. But the more we go on with this season, and I sit here and know that they didn't spend $20 million to bring in people and to put pieces in place, and now they're 1-7 and they're non-competitive, man, if I was a Jets fan, I'd be beside myself.
There's another buzzword that I heard yesterday about Geno Smith, that needs to be thrown out because it's not true, and it's been said over and over again. We'll tell you what that is. Plus, Rex Ryan, I thought, gave us a brief moment of honesty yesterday, and then all of a sudden realized what he had said and tried to retreat. I want to see if you pick up on it the same way. Ruocco and Rothenberg, an angry Rothenberg. We love angry Rothenberg. No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Rip the shirt off next time. Do like you do after a big Giants loss. We love it. Bill's here.
This is peer pressure. I will not relent.
On ESPN New York.
You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Brian, you said you had something that you had to get off your chest about Rex Ryan, that he showed a little bit of honesty yesterday and then kind of backpedaled.
He did. And I want to see if you pick up on it. Mm-hmm. All right? So here you go. This is Rex Ryan asked on the Michael Kay Show if he thinks he's done a good enough job this year.
I can tell you this. I've done the best job I possibly could do. I have no regrets. The only regret I have is that we haven't won. That's the only regret. Have I called perfect games? Have I done things perfectly? No, but I'll tell you one thing. My effort and everything else has been that. I try to put everything I have into these things. And that's why, when to say that I've, come up short in areas, hey, look, I've come up short in the win-loss column without question. But some of the things that I've done to help this team, give this team an opportunity, that I'm satisfied with everything except the result.
Isn't that the only thing you're looking for, though, is the result?
Okay.
Isn't that the only thing that really matters is the result?
You hear that, and then you hear Michael say to him, well, how can you say you've done your job? Yet you're losing. You always come to your players' defenses. Right.
It just hadn't gone our way yet, and that's what I believe. I think I think we'll find a way. I do, and whether I get criticized for it or whatever, that's the way it is. But I believe our team is. I think we're way closer than people think. To being to finding ways to win games. I do believe that. But I don't. I would never say our players haven't given the effort, because they have. It's just our results have not been. Been what we wanted it to be or expect it to be.
Now, what I heard Rex Ryan being honest in his first answer and kind of losing sight of being, smooth media guy and being brash Rex and saying, I know I've done my job. These guys stink.
But you haven't done your job.
Fair enough. But you got his back up.
No. Yeah. I'm angry now. I'm serious.
Okay,
what other coach around the league would stand up on his weekly radio show and say, my team is 1-7, but let me tell you something, guys. I've done everything that I can do.
There you go.
It's embarrassing, right?
I can tell you this. I've done the best job I possibly could do.
Oh, come on.
Now,
it's embarrassing, is it not?
It is.
They're 1-7. The only team that has a worse record than the Jets is the Raiders, and this guy's gallivanting around saying what he's doing a great job. And it's every week. It's we're so close. They lost by 20 points to the Bills at home. They lost by 31 to the Chargers on the road. They don't compete in half the games they play in. They're close.
They're not close. They're not remotely close. What I think Rex Ryan
The Royals are close.
Hopefully not after tonight.
Oh,
but yeah,
my God.
I think I agree. It's
close.
Ridiculous. This whole idea about them being close and that which the GM was spouting yesterday, too. We're not far off. We've seen flashes. No, stop.
Is this me?
Stop.
Or is it?
No, it's not you. It's not you. It's not you. You're right. It's ridiculous. The whole thing about being close is ridiculous. It's absurd, and it's insulting to your fan base, and it sounds like you have no idea what's going on. You're not close. You're not close. You're not remotely close. You don't have it. You're not good enough. But I think what Rex was doing there is I think he was showing us in the beginning, I think he was acquitting himself of what's going on, which isn't right. I don't like it.
It's completely wrong, by the way.
It's dead wrong. But if you were saying what's the worst problem with this team, you'd probably say the personnel before you say the coach, right? And then I think he kind of realized, in the second answer, he kind of realized what he said.
But it goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
It does, definitely. But don't you think he was trying to say at the beginning, like, hey, I know I've done my thing. Like, there's things I've done. And basically, the subtext of that was, I don't have the horses. And then the second part of it was him realizing, geez, I don't want to say that, and trying to go back, well, I know I'm never going to say that these guys aren't putting in the effort because what he really wants to say is these guys aren't good enough.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? We'll run through it real quickly. The talent level is not good enough. The head coach has not done a good job, and the GM has not done a good job. And all that and more are the reasons that this team sits here at 1-7. It takes a lot to be this bad.
No question. And there's really nothing you can do the rest of this season that would be worth celebrating. Nothing. Because we won 5 of our last 6 games. All right, you finished 7-9. It doesn't matter. Your season's now in the toilet. That's what it is, based on what you've done thus far. I'm looking at the owner. I am looking at the owner.
That's the one thing that's not going to go away.
No, I'm not talking about him going away.
You know what I would love? I would love this if Woody Johnson held a press conference and said 2 things, like 2 sentences. This is unacceptable. There will be changes at the end of the year. Goodbye.
Bam.
That's how would you feel about that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. I'm looking at the owner. I'm not saying the owner has to sell. No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm looking at the owner like this is his moment. He has to be the one who says this is totally and completely unacceptable. We're not going to go forward like this.
I'm not okay with this.
Exactly. That's what I need. And, I know he's angry. Now it's a matter of what he does with that. And every Jets fan should be looking at their owner right now and saying, what are you going to do for me right now? Because I don't deserve this. The way I put money into your product, the way I've gone through decades of suffering, I don't deserve this. What are you going to do about it? Because this can't go on. Now, one other thing on Rex. When he says...
I can tell you this. I've done the best job I possibly could do.
To be fair to him, do you think there's any part of him that is just thinking about effort when he says that? Like, I could tell you I'm pouring my heart and soul into this.
Maybe, but do you think there's another coach in this league that at 1-7 would be lauding how great they've done this year? And now that their team... I mean, the team tries for him.
I know.
But are we supposed to throw a parade down Broadway because the team tries to win games for him, Ryan?
Don said it yesterday to John Idzik in their interview, and he was totally right. He said, John... shouldn't I be expecting effort? When John Idzik was going through and saying, hey, we get, everybody, the security department. No, stop. Everybody should be trying hard. That should be a given. Oh. That shouldn't be something to celebrate.
I'm telling you, I'm angry as a Giants fan. If I was a Jets fan, I would be, listen, you stand by your team.
Yourself.
But I would be incensed at some of the things that these guys say.
And you should be.
The Jets choose Michael Vick as their starting QB this week.
I had fun when I had the opportunity to do it, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun this time around.
Considering Vick is not part of the future, did this decision make sense? And is Geno Smith done as a Jet starter?
Well, here's the one thing I'd say about that with Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPN New York. There's one word I want to hear stopped when describing Geno Smith, and it's inconsistent. No.
He's terrible.
He's been consistent. He's been consistently bad. Dave, if I was to tell you, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How many games does Geno Smith have in which he's thrown for more than 300 yards in his career? He has 24 games he's played.
2.
You're right.
Is that right?
Damn good guess.
That was a guess.
You're impressive sometimes.
Yeah, I really am.
All right. In each of those games, he's thrown 2 picks, though.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is his signature game where you're like, whoa, that was a
Falcons.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, no picks.
He was good.
Under 200 yards, though.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't care about the numbers as much as I care about. He was very good in that game.
He was very good.
That was the game that I watched, and I thought to myself, by the way, the Falcons are horrendous, but that's neither here nor there. That was the game that I watched and thought to myself, you know what?
He could be good.
Maybe he can be.
But my point is, he has been consistent. He's been consistently bad. This idea that, he's been inconsistent. No. He's been bad. And I think the only choice was to start Vic, the more I thought about it, just because I thought it would send an awful message to put Geno back out there after his putrid performance last week, after the way he's played. He gives you no chance. You can't put him back out there. They had to start Vic.
This past Sunday was one of the worst quarters from a quarterback I've ever seen in my life. He had to be taken out. You can't put him back in. Look, I think it's fair to say that the starting quarterback on the Jets roster is not on this team right now for next season.
No, it's not.
Vic won't be here. Geno may not be here. Geno at best will be the backup quarterback. They are, as they say it in baseball, playing out the string. They are playing out the string.
No question. Here we go, Dave. How many games? I'm sorry, I'm just getting mystified looking at this Geno
Go,
line
go,
and
go,
think
it's
about
fine.
the word inconsistent because he's been so consistently bad. And I was wrong on him. Let me be the first to say I was dead wrong. I saw him at Florham Park last year. I thought he was going to be great. Remember that? You made fun of me for that. It was before we were even friends. I think
Well,
you
we
opened
were
your
friends.
show. Well, I mean, we knew each other.
Well, I always liked you.
I liked you too. But I'm saying now we're like really tight.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I made fun of you because you were sold on the Geno thing.
I saw one practice and I got giddy over it.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I was making fun of you on the air, and I think you called in.
Yeah, I did. And you were right, and I
Yeah.
was wrong. So here's just something to ponder. How many games? 24 starts. How many games do you think Geno has thrown 2 touchdowns or more?
4.
Jeez, did you study this ahead of
No,
time?
I'm guessing.
Oh, my gosh, you're right. That's unbelievable. 24 starts in a passing league. You only have 4 games, 4 of 24, in which you've thrown 2 touchdown passes.
It's not good.
That's unbelievable. How many times do you think he's thrown no touchdown passes in his 24 starts?
10.
All right, now I know you're looking.
Well, what am I looking
You're
at?
looking. Let me see his screen.
You can look at my screen.
What? Are you serious?
I'm guessing.
Ken Delmo's feeding him the answers. I got it.
Nope.
Yes,
nope,
you
no,
are.
I'm not.
Yes,
No.
he is.
I swear
Yes,
on
he is.
all things good in this world that I am not looking at anything.
You know what?
I'm really smart.
Jeff is feeding you.
I
But that was clever,
No,
fellas.
and you really
That
what I was
clever.
looking at. This is what I was looking at.
That was clever.
You said the stat about Geno only 4 games
you?
with 2 or more TDs. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's not everybody. 7 guys did that this Sunday.
Wow. See? That's ridiculous. You really guessed all this
Swear to
exactly?
you.
You're on some kind of roll, man.
I'm
Too
a
bad you don't
savant.
have a pop culture challenge today.
No, but you have your question today.
I have my history question coming up. By the way, what's your favorite movie of all time?
The Godfather, the first one.
Mine too. Yeah. Ruocco and Rothenberg with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM. My history challenge is coming up next. Plus, I want to hear from you guys. You know, just your general reaction to everything you heard yesterday at 1-800-919-3776 on the Maserati Morris County Hotline. And something starts tonight, Dave.
NBA.
On ESPN New York.
You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Dave, tonight, NBA season starts.
I'm into it. Are you? I'm really excited for this season. I'm really excited to see what the Knicks are. I think the Nets are very interesting as well. I love watching the Spurs. I know everyone thinks they're so boring. I love watching that team. Cleveland's exciting. The Clippers are exciting. It's good. I'm totally excited for the start of the season.
Can't wait. We'll do a full NBA preview tomorrow. We're going to save it. Even though the season starts tonight, we thought we would save our preview for Knicks and Nets opening day, which is tomorrow.
Well, nothing's going to change tonight.
Yeah.
That would make you differ on your NBA champion tomorrow.
Exactly. So we'll have Mason Plumlee on, and Tim Legler
Legler,
will hang out. So it'll be a good show to get ready for the season. I'm excited to watch tonight, too. I'm interested to watch Kobe tonight as well. I'm calling Lakers-Clippers on ESPN Friday night, which will be a fun game.
What, this Friday?
This Friday.
When are you leaving?
I'm leaving tomorrow night.
Well, nobody told me this.
Yeah, so I'll be doing the show still from LA.
Friday. You'll be in LA.
Thursday and Friday.
This changes the whole dynamic.
I'm going to be doing the show from LA Thursday and
And you
Friday.
didn't tell me, though.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
Didn't tell me either.
So you're just learning this now as
I'm
well.
trying to make arrangements to get him to do the show from
Well, it'll be at
Los
ESPN
Angeles.
LA. I, mean,
I
they have 100
pulled this
studios
Stephen
there.
A. and didn't say anything about it till the last minute. Jeff was going to just see me on TV in LA and be like, wait a second. What? I thought he was going to be in New York.
Had me scouring every text message, every email, so I was like, was I the idiot and missed it? And I was like,
I realized today, I was like, I don't think I ever told Jeff I was going to be in LA this week. So, yeah. But I'm looking forward to seeing Kobe and seeing how he will perform. Hank in Connecticut. Hank, you were on the Maserati and Morris County hotline.
Hi, guys. I like the energy that you two have.
Thank you.
Thank
Hank.
you.
First thing I want to ask Ryan is that if Tessio and Clemenza were having an argument about Rex Ryan, would you agree that Tessio would say he's a bad coach because Tessio was always smarter? And would you also agree that old man Roth and his Sicilian messenger boy, Johnny Ola, would back the Rosario brothers over Rex Ryan? Now, I would like the two of you to tell me, because I never hear this. It's a yes or no. If he's telling me he did his best and he's 1-7, then he is not a good coach. If you're telling me that he has bad talent and they keep making the same mistakes, then he is not a good coach. Which is it? Do you think he is a good coach or not? Yes or no?
I don't.
Yeah, you know what? It's a good question. I think he. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's a decent coach.
I think he's. I don't think he's a special coach. You know, there seems to be this whole God. We can't get rid of him. How will he ever replace Rex Ryan? He's had 4 years that have been bad. And look, I don't. Going to the AFC Championship game is a tremendous accomplishment. Your first 2 years as a head coach, but. Let's be honest. That first year, they didn't deserve to be there. They didn't deserve to go to the postseason. The only reason that team went to the postseason is because the Colts laid down in the second half and decided they didn't want to be unbeaten. And the Bengals had nothing to play for in that final game of the year. Now, the Jets took care of business in the playoffs, and you give him credit for that. But he had, in my mind, one unbelievably successful year where they were really good in the regular season, they were really good in the postseason, and that was year number 2. But he's had 4 consecutive seasons. And they haven't been good in a long time now.
Ruocco and Rothenberg with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM. I agree. My trust in him has been broken, Dave. It has.
And you didn't say that 4 weeks ago.
No, I still think he could be a good coach somewhere. I think it's over here. It just feels like it's over here. And yes, I do agree with those who feel like he's too slanted towards defense. That in today's NFL, that's not the best tack to take. Sometimes in the second job, you learn from your mistakes in the first one. I think there's a good base there. There's a motivating base. There's a
Do you think teams are lined up to offer him a job once he's relieved of his duties with the Jets?
No, but I think he definitely will get a second job.
Next year?
Probably next year. If not next year, the year after.
I don't think so.
I think he definitely gets a second job at some point in the near future. I believe that.
Okay. I don't think so.
I do think that. Dave, am I on the hot seat today?
You are, but I thought you wanted to ask me a question first.
Oh,
no?
I do. I really wanted to ask you, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, I would like, that's good. I would like X-ray vision.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would enjoy that very much.
I think I can understand why you would.
Yeah.
I think you would enjoy that very much.
You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM. You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Now it's up to me to
see if you can answer the question, the pressing question.
Dave may not know pop culture.
How dare you doubt me?
You know what?
I'm a pop culture genius!
But Ryan isn't the greatest when it comes to history.
Is it? Oh, it's
Have your textbooks ready as we begin Ruocco and Rothenberg's history lesson.
You ready?
Now, this is great music. Now, remember, last week, I got it quickly with Delaware.
You did.
2 weeks ago.
You're 1-0.
I'm 1-0.
Are you nervous again like you were last time?
I am nervous. I don't want to look like a fool.
And I don't blame you. Here's your question.
The United States has had how many presidents?
United States has had how many presidents?
Don't go to the Google. Put your hands up.
Yeah, this is... Oh, my gosh. I should totally know that.
You don't know what number President Barack Obama is?
That's terrible, isn't it? 42nd?
No, that's not the correct answer.
I don't get like a ding wrong noise.
You want to take another guess?
Do I get another guess?
Take another guess.
You don't know it either. You're looking it up. He doesn't.
Wow.
Neither
Listen,
of us
this
know.
is not about
Neither of
me.
us know. I
This
can
is
see.
not about
He's looking it
me.
up. You're looking it up.
I
though.
am looking it
Yeah.
up. But this has nothing to do with me.
I don't care. I just want us both to be embarrassed together.
I'm not embarrassed. I'm not on the hot seat. Do you know the answer?
No, I don't know.
You not?
I don't know.
Was
44th?
I think it's 40. Is that right?
Yeah, 44th.
But
Well, you're still wrong. You get the first one wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong.
Well, all right.
Don't deflect on me.
We both...
if when I knew YOLO, if you didn't know it, that wouldn't make you look bad.
All right, real quick.
Yeah.
The 3 answers. If you have them all for Dave, the 3 answers are the personal questions that that I've asked him throughout the show. Tweet them now at Jeff Candelmo. At Jeff Candelmo, tweet those 3 answers. The questions were, where was his first date with his wife? What's his favorite movie of all time? And what superpower would he want if he could have any? If you know those 3 answers, and if you've been listening to the show, you know them, be the first person to tweet them correctly to at Jeff Candelmo, and you will win tickets to Knicks Hornets on November 2nd. We will tweet out who the winner is in just a little bit, and we'll be back with you in 23 hours.
You're listening to the best of Ruocco and Rothenberg on ESPNNewYork.com. You hear them every weekday beginning at noon, only on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.